fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hang on here. We have to have, of course, on a middle of the week, we have to have some technical issues as we're trying to work on some of the live streaming, getting it up all over the place. Welcome into the program. It is a Wednesday, the middle of the week, the post Monday, the pre-Friday, your millennial general reporting for duty, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship station all over the country, on radio and TV, plus the live streaming as well. We got a big show for you lined up today. It's going to blow you out of the water like we do every single day, at least hopefully. See what we do? See what we do? Coming up on the program, Lucas Miles. He is author of the book, The Christian Left, How Liberal Thought Hijacked the Church. Christianity and the left-wing progressives, do they mingle? Do they coexist in today's era? We'll talk about that here coming up in just a little bit. But today, Joe Biden has officially taken care of us. Joe Biden and the Democrats have officially done something to do things for us. Now, Donald Trump over the last 9 months during COVID-19 has not taken care of the American people in any way, shape, or form. He despised the American people. Donald Trump tried to tell you to drink Clorox, which I do find hilarious, because if you see something like that on social media, they wouldn't block that as false information from their third-party investigators or community standards or whatever. But if you say something that's actually truthful on social media, then of course they're going to block you and say that, well, you know, that goes against our community standards. But when you hear news about Donald Trump trying to tell you to drink Clorox to kill yourself from COVID-19, that of course will not get blocked on social media. So of course, what else do you expect with some of the ridiculousness from social media? Nonetheless, we have Donald Trump killing everybody and Joe Biden saving everybody. Now, Donald Trump passed 2 COVID-19 relief packages. Donald Trump got the COVID-19 vaccine in just less than 9 months, and we had 30 million distributed by the time that he left office. But Joe Biden is now saving the day. He has passed the 3rd COVID-19 relief package officially today. And that's the breaking news of the day. So, as you know, yesterday, the U.S. Senate ended up passing the bill with a 50-49 margin, a very narrow margin, and that does not include the $15 an hour minimum wage. So I guess Republicans are like, hey, we won something. And Democrats just kind of ram through everything else that they want to. We've talked about some of the porculus in the bill, but it did go over to the House of Representatives. It passed in a very partisan fashion. The Joe Biden that wanted to bring partisanship or bipartisanship, that wanted to be the president for everybody, Republicans and Democrats alike. We're going to unite, hold hands, and sing Kumbaya. We did that with a very partisan, divisive fashion today, as the House of Representatives did pass the COVID-19 bill, the $1.9 trillion bill, and it's set to go to his desk, which he's set to sign on a Friday to wrap up this week. So what is actually in the bill? Now, we've talked about some of the porculus. What does it actually do, though? And is it a good thing? And can you look forward to something in this bill? Potentially. $300 a week extension for jobless aid supplements and programs, making millions of more people eligible for unemployment insurance through September 6th, according to CNBC.com. Also sending the $1,400 direct payments to most Americans and their dependents. Now, they phase out at $75,000 in income for individuals and capped at people who make $80,000. They also expand the child tax credit for 1 year, increasing it to $3,600 for children under 6 years old and $3,000 for children between 6 and 17. The plan puts about $20 billion, according to the report, into COVID-19 vaccine manufacturing and distribution, along with roughly $50 billion into testing and contact tracing. Aren't we already kind of doing that? I mean, that's cool, fine, all right, whatever, but aren't we already kind of doing that? Throwing it out there, it adds $25 billion in rental and utility assistance and roughly $10 billion to mortgage aid. Okay. The plan offers $350 billion into relief to states, local, and tribal governments. Now, it does not specify what those are, at least in this story. So that could be whatever you want. Here's for your museum, for what was a Native American language preservation that's coming out of the COVID-19 bill. That's going into state and local government funding for these things, because why the heck not, including Planned Parenthood and other things as such as well. The proposal directs more than $120 billion to K through 12 schools. Why? Not quite sure, because it doesn't even tell them they have to open their schools up. All it says is you haven't had to spend any money this year because you have had the buildings closed. You really haven't, you've obviously paid some teachers, but you haven't had to do a whole lot with the building, the upkeep of the building, the buses. You haven't had to do a whole lot of that. Here's $150 billion more for you so you can continue to stash it away in your emergency fund and then tell the people in your local districts that you don't have enough money. Yes, I'm a jerk that way. The legislation also expands an unemployment retention tax credit designed to allow the companies to keep workers on the payroll. It offers nearly $30 billion into the aid of restaurants. Now, he said, and he made a statement saying that this is a great credit, it's a great thing, and hoorah, and he's all happy about it. This is what Joe Biden had to say when it passed the Senate.
Office 45 days ago, I promised the American people that help was on the way. Today, I can say we've taken one more giant step forward in delivering on that promise, that help was on the way. For over a year, the American people were told they were on their own. We've seen how hard that has been on so many Americans. As of last night, 519,064 lives lost to the virus. That many empty chairs this morning, the breakfast table, gone. More than 400 small businesses closed unnecessarily. Millions of people out of work through no fault of their own. I want to emphasize that. Through no fault of their own. This nation has suffered too much for much too long. And everything in this package is designed to relieve the suffering and to meet the most urgent needs of the nation and put us in a better position to prevail.
Now, again, it's really just a porculus bill to spend on whatever they want to, because remember, we are $2 trillion in a deficit for this year alone. We just signed a $1.9 trillion bill that's going to double that deficit for one single year before we even get to a federal budget that we won't even do until this fall. So there is that going for us, but I can see some of the relief, obviously, for restaurants, for businesses, for individuals, sending the checks out to individuals. Sure, why the heck not? It's a one-time thing. Andy, you like universal incomes. No, I don't. I like my tax money coming back to me and me being able to do what I want to with it in a time of crisis when the government doesn't obviously need it. But I don't want that to be an extended long-term type of thing. The problem is that that's kind of the direction we're going with this, isn't it? I mean, let's look a little bit deeper here, shall we? Of course, you're going to get the headlines on what's in the bill. You're going to be thinking about, what am I going to do with this paycheck coming into me? I'm getting my child tax credits. I'm getting some utility assistance possibly. I'm getting X. I'm getting Y. I'm getting Z. You can think about all of these things, but what does it really mean? A deeper thought here. We are a year into this COVID-19 pandemic, whatever you want to call it, when at least 3 or 4 different states are now beginning to open up 100%. 100. You can wear masks if you want to. You don't have to wear masks if you want to. You can go out in public and congregate. You don't have to go out and congregate. There are protests out there now saying, come and take it with a mask, kind of like the don't tread on me, but come and take it with their mask. We're not telling you don't have to wear the mask or that you're not allowed to. All we're saying is you don't have to if you don't want to. Again, the left not quite understanding the concept of freedom to where if you choose to, that's cool. If you choose not to, then that's cool as well, because they want either everything or nothing. But what does this mean? We have come so far down the road of giving at the federal level that we will never be able to take this stuff back. Ever. Explain to me someone who was unemployed prior to the pandemic and someone who's newly employed because of the pandemic, and try to draw that line and be like, all right, now your job may have gone out during the shutdown. At what point do we say things are open back up? Now you have to go find another job before we give you extended unemployment benefits. Now, I want to help those that actually were affected by the pandemic, that literally truly lost their jobs because of the pandemic, that their small business shut down, that the small business they worked for shut down. Yeah, we need to help those individuals. Absolutely. Where's that line? How do you decipher that? How does a federal government that can't do anything efficiently in any way, shape, or form, how do they come out and sit around the round table and say, all right, we can't afford everybody to be on unemployment any longer. We can't afford these extension on unemployment benefits any longer. September's going to be the end of it, let's say. How do we move forward? Well, this person was working prior to. He was working at a small business. The small business shut down. Do we extend that because we're not quite open yet? So the opportunities for new jobs aren't quite there yet. We need to extend it for him. But someone who's been on unemployment even before the pandemic, it made it harder for them to find a job, and therefore we need to extend it for them as well. Or no, sorry, your unemployment benefits are all over. If you remember, at statewide levels, they have different caps. Like you can only apply and you're going to get it for like 6 months at a time. And then after that, poof, you're done. Sorry, you got to wait another like 3 years. You don't qualify any longer. Some of that has been suspended because of the COVID-19 pandemic. But where do we draw that line? We've already created the scenario that you are an absolute victim. Everybody's a victim. And we're just going to continuously expand your unemployment benefits. Now, the federal government at some point has to draw the line, right? Wrong. Because you give the government an inch and they take 3 miles. So you tell them, wait a second, it's time to open things back up. We're not going to supply additional unemployment benefits any longer. People are going to lose their minds, and that's when the litigation is going to begin. Andy, what do you mean? Here's exactly what I mean. I don't feel safe going back to work. Everything's open, though. I know, but I don't feel safe about it. You got the vaccine? I know, but they still say to wear a mask even if I got the vaccine. Yeah, but you know what? Things are open up again, and it's going to be okay. No, I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe. You know this is coming. You know the left-wing progressives love saying that they don't feel safe or they don't feel comfortable. They feel very triggered. They feel very vulnerable. They feel very snowflakey-ish. I don't feel safe going back to work. Oh, you're going to make me go back to work or I'm not going to get paid or get my unemployment. Here's a lawsuit. You know it's coming. It's going to come starting in September, October if they don't extend those benefits. So now we've extended it. So we've continuously extended it. And again, this is not an attack on those that actually truly need it. This is where is that line drawn between, you know what, you need to go and find a different job or you need to start a new venture. Or remember what Donald Trump did again, or Ivanka Trump actually led this program, was trying to get trained in a new career. Things are changing. Things are adapting. Working from home, working the tech industry, working certain things. Let's start a federal program to where if people are losing their jobs because of the industry being affected so harshly, let's get you trained in something else and get the workforce transition to something different that's active and that's alive and that's booming and that's doing well for us to survive so that way we don't have you on unemployment. Let's not just have you sit there and play the victim and get the paycheck. Let's train you in something different so you can continuously work. They don't like that. They ended it. As soon as Donald Trump was gone, boom, gone. Instead, you're a victim, we'll continuously send you a check. You're a victim, we'll expand your unemployment benefits. Well, when are they going to end? Well, I don't know. When the economy's back up. I love one of the quotes from actually our governor here in the state of Kansas. She made the comment of, during a discussion of lowering sales tax on food. And yes, Kansas does tax its food, which is really ridiculous because most states do not do that. We not only just tax food in the state of Kansas, we tax it at a 6.5% rate at the statewide sales tax rate in the state of Kansas. And when asked, which was one of her platforms saying she was going to eliminate that, which is funny because Democrats were the ones that put it in place. But when she was asked about that before she ran for, or when she first got into office, she said, well, we're not going to get rid of it yet. We're going to wait until things calm down economically. We're going to wait until things just kind of settle. The dust settles in the state economy. Then we can talk about that. Hey, Joe Biden, when are you going to stop providing extended unemployment benefits for those affected by the pandemic? When things settle down, when things open up, it's kind of like the excuse that you make when you really don't want to visit with somebody, right?
The voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the voice of reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Missed part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I know we try to cram a lot into this program, which is why we literally try to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation one radio listener at a time as we try to cover some of this with the shenanigans it is this COVID-19 relief bill. Where does it end and how far will we go? This is now the third one. We have yet to spend the rest of the second one, and now we're into a major third one. But now that we've done it, help is here. Where do we go from there? At what point do we continuously just keep spending that money? It's an interesting concept as we move forward in this nation. What will the future look like, and will that dependency this continue on, which is what Democrats have always wanted? And like usual, let's utilize the opportunity and never let a crisis go to waste, right? I mean, that's really the mentality from a lot of them. Welcome into the show, 24 minutes past the hour. You can find us on our social media, which the social media is, I don't think it's social media. I think it's more just my program with the video streaming acting up today. But you can find us on the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Plus the website at HooserReason.com. Also, I do have up my OurFreedomBook.com, which is the new app site that we talked to Dave Lipsky about yesterday. OurFreedomBook.com, and you can sign up there. It's a really cool site. I have my profile built. We're going to start working on transitioning, I think, some of the streaming to that site and stop some of the other ones. So if you want to watch the live streaming, or we may keep it in as long as they allow us to, but we're not getting a whole lot of traction on it any longer. I cannot share out the feed on Facebook, which is kind of frustrating to me, but I can't do it. I just can't share it. I can put it on my personal page, and that's about it. So if you're friends with me, you can see it. I try to make it public for everybody. everybody. We are still on YouTube, but that one's still shadow banning us as well and keeping us out of the algorithm. So we're not gaining a whole lot of traction there, which you can, by the way, subscribe to us on there, and I appreciate it if you do. But I think we're going to start transitioning to ourfreedombook.com as well and start doing live stream there just because we can. And because they're not going to censor us. And already we're starting to get some friends and followers on there, and we appreciate you there as well. We'll get Dave Lipsky back on the program because that was a really cool conversation that we had with him yesterday about all the different sites that he is working on and some of the opportunities that is there. Real quickly, though, to wrap up some of the stimulus package stuff, and I know you've been hearing about it all day long, so I'm sure you're ad nauseum, just kind of tired and glassy and just done with it. But looking at the deeper meaning, why are we doing this? We're opening things back up. The vaccine is going out. We're looking more optimistic. According to the latest polls that we just read a few days ago, over 60% of Americans have seen a positive movement with COVID response, and they feel optimistic. Now, of course, Joe Biden's getting the credit for that, but people are feeling optimistic. So why are we spending more money at the federal government instead of just saying everything's opened up again, have at it and do your thing? Because they don't want that. And what that means is now we've tied up the entire rest of this year going into the next federal budget in this fall where they can decide to do more of this. And now that we've given them that opportunity to actually spend money on certain programs, giving states state aid, you know what's going to happen again? Most state governments are starting to work on their federal budget by the summer. The summer and early fall is when usually their state fiscal budgets end and the new year begins. So all of them that are looking at next year's budgets, they're all looking at deficits. Here in the state of Kansas, they're looking at a $12 billion debt deficit in the state that they have to try and rectify. Now, our Democrat governor's just like, well, we hope we get more federal money from the federal government because let's just get bailed out. Spend too much money and then just get bailed out. We don't want that. We don't want something like that to happen. And then when we ask when it's going to end, it's really just like the dating or when it's like trying to visit with some family and friends that you really don't like want to see right now. And they're like, hey, we should get together. Oh, yeah, we should totally get together. You know, like when things slow down a little bit, once the temperature starts warming up a little bit and, you know, things kind of happen, then we'll totally be there, man. We'll just let you know. That's kind of the situation we're at right now with the federal government. Hey, when are you going to stop giving us bailout money? Well, you know, when things slow down a little bit, when it opens up and things are running great. Because that's what they like to, and we'll just continue on and on and on. Like the Energizer Bunny, the Democrats just can't stop giving away your money. It's a concept. When we come back, Lucas Miles, he wrote the book, The Christianity and the Left. We'll talk about progressivism and religion. Do they coincide together, and how could they coincide together? We'll talk about some of that and more. Plus, we have issues at the immigration border that I've been wanting to talk about. We haven't had a chance to do so, so we'll do that on the program today as well. All coming up here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Darn right you are. Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a post Monday, the pre-Friday celebration. One of the greatest days of the entire week. Yes, I know it's a Wednesday, but you still see the light at the end of the tunnel, so it's all good. Welcome back into the program of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn. We have all the social media going, the live stream going, plus on the website at HooserReason.com. And you can find all the social media at Hoosier Reason, your millennial general, reporting for duty like we do every single day. I want to shift gears a little bit from the COVID bill. We'll get back to that here in a little bit. I do want to touch on some immigration issues that have been going on as well. Children at the border tripling. Kind of ironic. Do you remember all the way back when, during 2016, and Donald Trump said he was going to be tough on immigration, and illegal immigration literally dropped by like 80% at the border for like 4 or 5 months. So they realized that Congress wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do. So then it started coming back, but it dropped like 80% in the first like 5 months of this administration. Joe Biden, we're in 1 month of his administration, says he wants more of an open border policy, and the number of illegal immigrants and caravans triple in the first month. And then his people are like, no, it's not a crisis. We'll just deal with it as we go along. To me, it just boggles my mind. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to shift gears a little bit as we talk about some other interesting, fascinating things on this program.
What's trending today?
So as you know, I like to go just a little bit deeper, unveil the layers of the onion just a little bit more. And we talk about not only current events and politics, but also philosophy and the religious side, because to me, they're all interconnected. And how does it all work? And I'm always fascinated by the study that I'll never forget from a couple years ago that said that as the size of government grows in the nation, the number of religious people within that society begin to shrink, because people look more towards the government for their answers instead of looking towards a higher power or spirituality or looking to themselves or whatever you may believe in. And I've always found that fascinating, because it's a cycle of life sort of thing where government's always been that way until we always just look forward to the government to solve everything, and then society crumbles because government doesn't know what the hell they're actually doing. So there is that. So I'm excited to have on the program to talk about some of this and more. He is the author of The Christian Left, How Liberal Thought Has Hijacked the Church. He's a conservative pastor and the author of the book. Lucas Miles with us here. Lucas, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I am doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on. It's always, as I mentioned, a topic that fascinates me. Did you remember seeing that, or do you see that type of similarity as well? As the size of government grows, religious people in society kind of diminish and dwindle little by little as well?
Absolutely. I mean, the left talks a lot about the separation of church and state, but really what they want is a church that is subservient to the state. And I think that for many people, the state is becoming their god. They're looking to it to meet all of their needs in life, from health care to the afterlife. And I think that it's a losing battle, and we see that time and time again.
It's really sad. You're right. I mean, government, what are you going to do for us? I mean, I was involved in a high school shooting my senior year, and I'll never forget that. We're now, every time we see about a school shooting, government, why won't you do something? We just need you to do something. Pass some type of gun regulation bill, and then poof, all of a sudden I'll feel better and feel more safe in my nice little bubble, and everything will go back to normal instead of looking at some of the deeper issues. But here's the ultimate question. I remember as well, I was trying to start up a local Young Republicans organization in Colorado, and I was handing out flyers, and some people were not very happy about me trying to get the Young Republicans active in that in that community. And someone told me, Andy, Jesus was a socialist. And that's, of course, the argument from the left all the time, is that Jesus was a socialist. So, Lucas, tell me, was Jesus a socialist, and should we be looking towards progressive values because Jesus advocated for socialism?
Jesus was not a socialist. And, if you look at Jesus' teachings, he taught two things that completely go in the face of socialistic ideals. One was personal responsibility, and that is something that really the left nor socialists believe in. And the second is what I'll call personal stewardship, and that is that you are in control with what you do with your time, your resources, and your money. And every good socialist knows that we can't let the people be in charge of their time, resources, and money. That has to be controlled by the state. But I think we have to go back a little bit further than that, to fully understand this. What we're seeing is progressive thought. It's not just about Republican or Democrat. Progressive ideology really came out of the Enlightenment, and there was a teaching that said it was called the historic Jesus. And basically, it was a group of people, philosophers and the like, that they took a new approach to looking at the identity of Jesus. And basically, they determined that the scriptures were not trustworthy enough for them, and that human reason was more reliable. So they literally went verse by verse through the Bible and determined which aspects of Scripture they wanted to believe in for their version of Jesus and which ones they wanted to scrap. Almost the equivalent of us going through with a Sharpie and just crossing out every other verse. And so anything that had to do with the miraculous, with forgiveness of sins, with the lordship of Jesus, with eternal life, those things were all scrapped off the table because they just didn't fit their human reason. So what they were left with was sort of this, Jesus, the great social organizer, Jesus, the champion for the poor. And so they really stripped him of anything that made him godlike, anything that made him the savior of the world, and really made him, more so just sort of the savior of the state. And I think we're seeing a resurgence in that today, and it's a scary thing.
It is a very scary thing. I mean, it's interesting to see what you can pick and choose on what you want to believe and not believe in, and just say, well, I believe this, but I don't think this actually happened, when it's all from the same book. So that doesn't make any sense to me in any way, shape, or form. Within Christianity itself, though, I mean, within the religion, within the church across the nation, which I mean, I'm a millennial. I don't go to church. I haven't gone to church in a long time, but I'm very spiritual. I'm very Christian. I haven't found one that I enjoy because I like more of the philosophical discussion rather than the feel-good sermon. And that's just me personally, but I'm looking for something I think a little bit deeper. Is there a change in the church right now nationwide to appeal to just either the feel-good, or do you think it's trying to pander, reach out to the younger generation, or is the politics infiltrated the church as well to where we're really having an internal war within churches?
It's a great question. And first off, I need to get you to check out my church live stream where I'm teaching every week, because you might find something that's going to fit exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, I love it.
Because these are things I talk about from the pulpit. And, when we look at this, there is an attack that's happening within the church. The left knows that they can't win elections without really breaking up the religious vote. And, both Catholics, Protestants, et cetera. And so, if you look back even the last couple decades, our seminaries and our theology centers have really been left-leaning for a long time within, universities, even in the Christian space. And that's not true for every Christian university, but it's true for a lot of them. I can remember being in Germany 20 years ago and hearing, talk from professors at schools of theology there that were saying that by the time you get done with my class, I'm going to make you an atheist. And we have a lot of people that are studying theology that don't believe in the lordship of Jesus. It's just a study for them. It's an academic approach. And that has dripped from the professor to the pastor to eventually into the pews. And I think that every American needs to be aware of this. They need to evaluate where their church is at, because leftism, it really has a tendency to creep in slowly. And it doesn't just show up overnight, and we have to educate ourselves on this topic. And that's one of the reasons I wrote this book, The Christian Left.
Yeah, well, and that's what they do all around. I mean, not just in religion, but in just government itself. I mean, when FDR talked about it greatly, where he could leave office, but if you put the right people in the administration in D.C., then the administration and the bureaucracy grows, and we continue on the agenda slowly, because if we just implement socialism all at the same time, then no one's going to go for it. But over a 50, 60, 70, 80, span year, people are going to wake up and be like, oh, wait a second. Yeah, I don't remember what it was like before we had all these agencies. Now we just can't live without the EPA or without the Department of Energy or the Department of whatever else, because it's just always been there. I just don't know why we would ever live without something like that. So it's something to be concerned about for sure as we move along. We're talking with, by the way, Lucas Miles, The Christian Left, How Liberal Thought Has Hijacked the Church, which is a very concerning aspect to us. Now, here's the big question as well. During the whole COVID pandemic, we were allowed to go out and protest in the middle of the street. We couldn't go to church. Has there been an attack on religion, especially over the last year or so during the pandemic?
I think certainly in some markets more so than others. I'm based in Indiana, and initially our governor was very favorable towards our churches. He gave them the ability to, really kind of make those decisions on their own in terms of how they wanted to, approach that, if they wanted to go, to virtual services or not. And so, our church was shut down where I pastor. It's called Influence Church, just with it's NFLUENCE, no I. And we shut down for about a month and just did virtual only. And we've been back ever since then. But what, my friends I talk to in places like New York and California, they've had a really tough go at it. And, what we are seeing is that there's certain pastors that they just don't want to tip over the apple cart, and so there's a little bit of cowardice that has risen up there within our churches. They're afraid of losing their 501c3s. They're afraid of speaking out on these topics. They're maybe not fully educated on, what their rights are or what legal options they have. And I'm not a big fan of just, being the rebellious guy going out there yelling and screaming and, calling everybody stupid just because you don't like the rules that they're setting. I think that there's ways to do this, though, legally, and there's ways to, really know the law, use the existing system to really make sure that our rights are not taken away from us, especially from a religious standpoint. And at the end of the day, though, if they do want to, try to take them away further, I think Christians have to do what we've done for the last 2,000 years of church history, and that is we're going to continue worshiping, how God has called us to, regardless of what the state says, and we're going to face the consequences. And I think that's the position that more people need to take.
I love it. It's good stuff. Lucas Miles, The Christian Left is the book. Make sure to check it out on Amazon and other places as well. Also, Influence Church. It's the letter N, Fluence Church. Real quickly, we got about 20 seconds or so. Give us a little plug. When are the services, and can people find the live stream?
Yeah, so we do a live stream on Facebook, Influence Church. It's 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Check it out. Always streaming online. And it's really, I think, for people that are conservative patriots and that love the Lord, you're going to find a lot of stuff that you like there. So definitely check that out. We have an app as well on the App Store under the same name.
Very cool. I love it, Off. Check it out. And we got to get you back on the show again. I love these types of conversations. I love going more philosophical at many times during the show instead of just the regular current events. So, Lucas, let's do this again real soon.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, appreciate it. We'll take a break here. Get ready for one last segment on the program for a Wednesday. A lot more to get to. Immigration policy. What's next with that? While we also talk about COVID and more.
Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again.
That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
All right, y'all, welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today for a post Monday, the pre-Friday, wrapping up the show. Thanks again to Lucas Miles coming on the show. Great guest. We'll get him back on the show again here at a later time tomorrow. Oh yeah, all right. We got a few guests. Krisha Lenzo. We talked with her before about some of the Robinhood, some of the trading stuff. She'll be back on the program tomorrow. She wants to, we'll talk about, I'm really excited to have her on. We're going to get her on in a semi-regular time to talk about some of the markets and how things are going and fluctuating. Obviously, after a $1.9 trillion COVID-19 stimulus bill, I want to see how the markets are going to respond to that. So we'll talk with Krisha about that, and she's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. She was going to come on today, had some stuff come up, wasn't able to get on, so we'll get her on the program tomorrow. Here's some breaking news for you.
What's trending today?
I think probably the most important story you'll see all day. Just throwing that idea out there. Canadians report seeing UFOs in the sky at a rate of 3 times per day. Say what? Oh, yeah. According to a Canadian UFOologist, I did not know there was such a thing, and I now want to become one. Where do I go to get my degree on UFOology? In Canada's Fox Mulder, he recently traveled to Duncan, a small town of Vancouver, reported seeing strange encounters in Duncan, along with other parts of the country. In teenage years in the 1980s, saw a boomerang-shaped object in the sky over the town gliding towards the mountains, did a 90-degree turn and went straight, and it just disappeared. So many different stories that there are sightings that last roughly 15 minutes. That's crazy with how long that is. Usually you just see it and boom, gone. There's roughly 1,000 UFO reports filed in Canada every single year, and the number remains high every single year since the 1980s. That's crazy. Either they're drinking way too much maple syrup up there in Canada, see, joke, again, or they're actually seeing UFOs. So that's the big story of the day. There you go. Nearly 3 times a day there's UFO sightings, with how many and how frequently they're actually seeing things in the sky. I find that fascinating, and now I want to become a UFOologist. Not sure how you do that. Someone send me an online certificate, and I will become a UFOologist officially. Here's the big news. According to Fox News, border numbers are expected to show wave of migrant children in custody triples. The Biden administration, according to Fox News, is set to release the new border numbers this week. Figures expect to show a wave of migration crashing down on the southern border in the recent weeks. Again, when Donald Trump came into office the first 5-6 months, the illegal immigrants dropped by near 80%, because what did he say? He was going to build a big, beautiful wall. It's going to be the most beautiful wall you've ever seen in your entire life. You'll never see anything so wonderful before. It's going to be big. It's going to have big, beautiful doors for all the legal immigrants are going to be coming into the big door. Outside of that, the illegal immigrants and the terrible people, just the bad people coming up, they're just not going to be allowed into the country. With that type of talk, which everybody enjoyed, by the way, on his supporting side and the Republican side, The illegal immigrants dropped by near 70 to 80% in the first 5-6 months. Dropped, just gone, because they did not want to be deported. We knew that we were going to be focusing on that as an issue. Joe Biden comes into office. We're going to reverse this policy. We're going to stop building the wall. We're going to reverse this. We're going to... And now all of a sudden you see migrant children tripling. And no longer, by the way, are they the evil detention centers where you're separating the families, but you are now just rehabilitating children and just taking care of them. They're just the overflow sanctuaries for children, so we can take care of them, we can house them. We're not testing for COVID, we're not giving vaccines down there. So while you have to close your small business because you are a non-essential business according to the government, they're allowed just to waltz right in without any type of test, possibly spreading who knows what. And I'm not saying everybody is, but if they did get COVID and they didn't know it and they're walking across the border, we're not testing, we're not vaccinating, we're not doing anything. They can just waltz right into the country. But you need to shut down your business. You are non-essential. We don't care about you and your business. That's the world we live in under a Biden administration. Now, as I've mentioned before, states can take these into their own hands. At the border especially, sorry, it's a matter of national security for us, or statewide emergency. We're going to send the National Guard. We're going to do our own law enforcement. We're going to enforce immigration policy at our statewide level because that's what we have to do to sustain and survive as a state, and the federal government can't do anything about it. They can complain, but they can't do anything about it. But we have to do something as children are now tripling at the border. What do we do with all these children? You can't send a child back by himself or herself. You can't, which is what they're anticipating. But once the kid's there, then, oh, you have my child, I now need to go to the country with you. Or, oh, human trafficking. Or, oh, list goes on. It's a frustrating situation, but hey, what do you expect when you open up the border and you just say, we're going to reverse everything that was relatively tough at the border and we're just going to let anybody do whatever they want to. And then when asked about it, is there a crisis? No, there's no crisis. We just have more people there than we've ever had in our entire existence. Crazy times. Podcast going up a little bit. That does it for us today. Make sure to be your own voice of reason. It's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Use some common sense. Speak some reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Everybody have a wonderful Wednesday. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the